Since it's Friday, which is my tea injection day, I thought I'd walk you through the steps of what I do to prep for that. I don't intend on actually giving myself the injection because I don't want to be showing off the fat roll that I stick the needle into. But there will be a needle visible, so if you have a problem with that, here's your warning.
For this, I need rubbing alcohol to sterilize where I'm going to be jabbing myself. I have cotton rounds that I use for that. I have needles. The ones I get come with syringes attached. That isn't always the case, but that's how my pharmacy handles it. So these are 25 gauge needles, which is a pretty small. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see that well. It's not big and scary unless you really have problems with needles, but most of the time I don't even feel it. Or not more than just a little bit of pressure. Like, it only hurts or bleeds if I nick something just the wrong way, and, you know, the pain and blood do not necessarily even go together. And these syringes on it are 1 milliliter because I don't even need that much, and I never will. They don't give you large volumes to inject into yourself. Now, my shot is subcutaneous, meaning you poke it into fat rather than intramuscular, which would get jabbed into a muscle, which is why I use a belly roll rather than the muscle on top of your thigh, which is usually the best accessible muscle for IM shots. And then I have my vial of testosterone, and there's still, you know, a fair amount of the original prescription strength left, which is why I'm doing a higher volume of this as my dose goes up until this one's out, and then I get a stronger concentration. Because this is 100 milligrams per milliliter. My next prescription for when this is out is for 200 milligrams per milliliter, twice as concentrated. My original dose was 0.1, a tenth of a milliliter of this once a week. Then we went up to 2, but because same strength, it was 0.2 milliliters of this. Now my dose means that of this, I'm getting 0.4 milliliters, and will be doing 0.2 once this one's out. But, so, I've got the needle out and uncapped. I get my cotton, and then that can go back in the little, I have a little container that I keep all of this, except the rubbing alcohol, all together with. Now, I'm gonna get this damp, and pick a spot, swirl it around, way more surface area than I actually need, and then, you know, put that aside because I may want that again. I'd actually been told this trick when I was an intern at a vet hospital. I was their lab monkey for 2 different internships, but if you draw up to the amount of air up to the amount that you actually want to draw, and then push that in, it helps, because you're dealing with negative pressure otherwise, and I may not be framing that right, or using the right language, but it helps deal with the pressure. And some people draw up with a larger needle so that it goes faster, and then swap the needle out and inject with the smaller one, but I don't care about the slower weight, and it's more hassle than I want to deal with to swap needles. It also creates way more mess because, like I said, my pharmacy only provides them in this combo insulin setup. And I tend to drop just a little bit too much so that when I'm pushing this back down, I can be sure that, you know, the needle has tea in it instead of, like, an air bubble. Because even though it's not going into a vein, that's still not really ideal. So now that's all set. Since it's dried off again, and just to, you know, be sure again, I will disinfect the spot again. And then I try to make sure, just to make it easier to actually push the plunger, that it's lined up so that my fingers, this is kind of the crossbar here for the plunger is directly this way to me, because it gives me better leverage. Because if it's on the side, there's slippage. I want to have a nice firm hold on it so that when I'm managing it, it's a nice clean process. And then I pick a spot and poke. And it's not going to flow really quickly even if I were to try and push it, but just kind of gently pulse it slowly as it goes in. and done. And once this is done, the cap locks on. This goes in a container with a locking lid because I don't have one of the red Sharps buckets, but that makes a good substitute. This can just go in the trash, or you can keep it together with the medical waste. I wipe off the surface of the injection spot one last time, even though, there's no dribble, there was no outflow of tea, no blood. I just like, being a little excessive there. You also sterilize, I didn't show it, the top of this, because that's another place where you can get surface bacteria or whatever on the needle that you're going to be poking into you. So there's that, but that is how I do my tea injection.
And I'll talk to you again tomorrow.